Hey Memphis, this is Best in Blue. This show is just like it sounds. We're talking to the best and brightest in the Memphis Police Department. In each episode, we do a deep dive into the various jobs within the department, and more importantly, we do a deep dive into the lives of the very human men and women behind the badge. And now, here's your host, Candace Gray.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Best in Blue, presented by Memphis Police Department and empowered by Kadzukian. We are so happy you joined us today. We have an amazing episode for you today featuring Deputy Chief Steve Chanler and Colonel Sandra Green. They'll be talking about community engagement, which is a really hot topic right now. What does it mean? What does it look like within our police department? And most importantly, what does it look like in our community? I suspect it's more than block parties and cookouts, but we'll find out as soon as we return to Best in Blue in just a moment.
Hey, I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels.
And I'm your co-host, Williams Brack. And Grindset takes a deep dive into the mentality of the entrepreneur in Memphis.
This show unpacks the entrepreneurial journey. What's your Grindset?
So make sure to check us out on your favorite podcast provider.
Grindset on the Kadzukian Network. Kadzukian!
And we're back. Welcome back to Best in Blue. We have some esteemed guests here today. We've got Deputy Chief Steve Chanler and Colonel Sandra Green. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Good. Well, first and foremost, we just want to find out a little bit about you. I understand we've got over almost 70 years of police experience sitting right in front of me. I know, it's kind of crazy, right?
Scary, isn't it?
Ladies first, Colonel Green, how long have you been with the force? How did you get your start? Tell us.
How much time do you have?
Well, we only have a couple minutes.
Okay.
So. No, I'm joking.
Well, thank you so much for having us here.
Absolutely.
And I've been with the Memphis Police Department for 37 years.
Wow.
I won't tell the year that I started.
Okay, you don't have to.
Got my start. I was a PST and worked at various places throughout the department.
Okay.
But it was a joy.
Wonderful.
I just felt like this is a people place and you need to like working with people.
That's it.
Here.
Okay.
So it's been great.
Good. And did you go to college while in the department, before, after a while?
I had a little bit prior to.
Okay.
And part of the PST program, you needed at least 54 semester hours at that time.
Okay.
In order to progress to the police phase.
Okay.
As well as be the age of 21. You know, so. And so I attended U of M.
Okay.
I'm still a senior.
Oh, really?
Because of family, I've put everybody else through.
Yeah,
so
we know how that goes.
Things is to complete it.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm sure you will. In the meantime, we are going to ask Deputy Chief Steve Chanler, how long have you been with the police department?
Been with the police department 32 years.
Woo! That's a long time. That is a long time. How'd you get your start?
Basically an advertisement in the newspaper, but I come from a police and fire family. My father and grandfather were firemen. My uncles were policemen.
Wonderful.
So it was just a natural progression.
Sure. And did you get started right out of school or did you do something else first?
No. So I graduated high school, joined the National Guard, did go to college.
Okay.
Then applied when I saw the advertisement in the newspaper. Was hired. And worked several different precincts, started North Precinct,
okay,
worked West Precinct, Central Precinct. Back then they were called that. And was very fortunate because I was already a helicopter pilot, so I was able to go to aviation and fly.
Very cool.
For the police department.
Yeah.
And subsequently was promoted, and here I am.
And here we are. 32 years later. Well, that's amazing. Well, tell us what you guys do now. I know that we are really focused on community engagement today. So what does that look like for you on a day-to-day basis, Officer Green?
Well, for me, I'm the commander of our community engagement unit.
Okay.
And also our community outreach program. And day-to-day for me, it's a lot. It's very busy. Just a little bit about the community outreach program. It is a program within the unit that has an enforcement piece that we'll probably be talking about.
Okay.
But basically, it is the restructuring of the coax from the previous administrations to better serve the community and uplift the community outreach piece.
Wonderful.
So it was with me, with this unit, it began in, matter of fact, June of 2012.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it basically was, the mission is to basically identify the violent crime among our youth, just violent crime period, but especially among our youth. And so we do it with the 3-prong approach, you know, identification, enforcement, and education. So basically we look for the issues that are in these particular communities and provide the necessary enforcement if it's us, special units, and then do the rebuilding piece on the the education piece. It could look like a health fair, but the members of the community basically have said, well, we need certain things if it's like our seniors, access to health care. So we go and we try to find the resources and bring them to them in the form of a health fair. So we have quite a few programs that have been established, you know, since then. And strategically, we are now citywide. At that time we started, we had target areas.
So just a couple of different neighborhoods.
Oh, it was quite big. It was Fraser, and it was also south part of Memphis downtown area, you know, that we had to work in.
Which, as I understand, is a higher poverty area as well, right?
Yes, most of these areas were underserved areas. Homeowners, not the apartments, but homeowners, but just everything in that area. But we knocked on the doors and we actually got information from our residents and businesses to see what it is that was needed to hopefully try and aid the root causes of why violent crime and crime was happening in these particular areas.
Wow.
And so that's what we continue to do.
That is so wonderful to know that that work is happening and has been for a while now. As we know, excuse me, there's been a lot of things happening with kids, you know, in the way of, you know, stealing cars and things like that. And you know, it seems like the ages are getting even younger. So tell us a little bit, Deputy Chief Chanler, about what you're doing on kind of a daily basis to help in that area.
So I'm over all of special operations, and that includes the community engagement piece. And I work closely with Colonel Green and my other colonels, just generally to reach out to the community, to try to get to know the community. Because part of what people forget, we're from the community.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're as much a part of this community as anybody else.
And you guys are from here, right? You're from
Memphis.
What part of town did you grow up in?
Melrose High School.
Okay. We got a lot of South Memphis folks joining the department. That's good to know. What about you?
And I'm from the Piperton area.
Okay, Piperton. So a little bit out in the sticks, but
a little bit out in the sticks, but I went to school here.
Came to the big city.
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
So I started at Briarcrest, finished at White Station.
Oh my God. Another Spartan in the house. Yes. Sorry. Love to hear it. Okay. So continue on. So yes, of the community, from the community. Right. And one of the things that people think when we come into the community, we're there as an occupier, and that's not what we're there for. Right.
A lot of people don't see it, but we do door knocks. We go door to door and talk with the residents and find out what their concerns are, so that when we come into the neighborhood, we're already pre-informed of what resources they're needing. And we start looking for those partnerships with local community and outside the community to provide those resources to the community. She talked about underserved. They absolutely are underserved. And we want to change that. And you talk about these kids that are stealing cars. It's great that we have programs such as the PAL League and everything to get them away from the area, but we've got to change their reality of what they see on a daily basis. And we hope by coming into the communities and providing these resources and addressing some of the ills that we're able to provide a more stable footing for these children to grow up in.
Absolutely. You mentioned programming. I know that's something we hear about. There's nothing for the kids to do. And I know that there have been a couple of programs that have been implemented. I'm sure you guys have worked with the community to do that. Can you just talk about a couple of those types of programs?
So we've got the Police Athletic League, which is well known. That's one of the things that a lot of people point to. But a lot of people don't know we also have a boxing gym where we teach mixed martial arts. We also teach boxing for the juveniles. We have, we're trying to bring back our Boy Scout and Girl Scout.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Troops.
Yes.
And just something to get them out of the doldrums of what do I do? I have nothing to do.
Well, and we
give
have
them
to
purpose.
show them. Yeah, we have to show them something else. Because what is this saying? They can't be what they can't see.
Correct.
And so knowing that there's something else out there than what they maybe seeing every day, which could be poverty or whatever else is happening in the community that we don't want to see. We don't want to talk about. We don't want to be part of that. And we don't want our kids to be part of that.
I think a lot of times what you find when you walk into the neighborhood, and it was shocking when I first learned of it. Of course, she's been doing this a minute, but really 25% of their concern deals with crime. I would say that the remaining 75%, and she may have a little different opinion, but deals with lack of jobs, lack of resources, blight.
Yeah. Basic needs.
Basic needs.
Life issues.
Yeah. Whew, that's heavy. Okay, I tell you what, I think it's time for a little break. And while we take a break, I want you guys to think about this question, and we'll answer it when we come back in the next segment. Tell me if there has ever been a time when the community, either at large or in a specific, neighborhood or area, has just been staunchly resistant to police department coming in, having a relationship, talking, if there was ever a time that that's occurred, and what you guys did to overcome that. So think about that, and we'll be right back to Best in Blue.
Hi, this is Patrice Jordan Robinson, chairwoman of the Memphis City Council, and I tell all of my friends to check out yours truly on A View from the Chair, where we talk about everything Memphis. You can catch the latest episodes by downloading the Kazookian app in your App Store or Google Play, or even by listening via your favorite podcast provider.
Welcome back. You're listening to Best in Blue, presented by the Memphis Police Department. Chief Chanler and Colonel Green, we left you with a cliffhanging question. Tell me, have you ever had an experience when the community did not receive you, did not want to work with you? And if so, what did you do to overcome that challenge?
So I think anytime you're going to have some in the community that don't appreciate what it is that we're trying to do. They see it that we're coming in there, that we're trying to over police the neighborhoods. We accept that. We still bring our programs in, and we show through our efforts what we're providing to the community. And oftentimes we win those naysayers, those deniers over. Now, there's going to be some that will never be 100%.
Yeah.
But I think once they start seeing the work that we're doing and seeing the positive results of the work that we're doing, that you'll start having others that were initially apprehensive wanting to be a part of it.
Right.
Green law is a prime example.
Okay.
Everybody's seen the recent controversy over green law. I think when they see what green law is about, and we get past the myths and rumors and start showing what product that we'll be producing there. So, as I said earlier, 25% is crime.
Yeah.
The remaining 75% is infrastructure, jobs, things of that nature. Sure. We won't be providing the resources, but we will partner with community members to provide the resources.
Absolutely. I love that.
I guess an example for me was when we first began in the Fraser area, Denver Park had been taken over by a particular gang. You know, the amenities, the swings. A lot of those things had been destroyed, and it was almost like a one-stop shop, for youth to come in. If they want to come play basketball or play in the park, they had to participate in those activities. So if we were at that time dealing with a lot of the basketball goals being on the streets, and people in the area complaining about youth in the streets. And when we began to ask why the basketball goals were in the street and they were not going to the park, they advised us about the situation as to why they could not go into the park. So as a result, what we did was we worked with the area community individuals. We helped create neighborhood watch groups that were not there. We tried to go in and help clean up the parks. We even used some of our resources. DeAndre Brown brought in his team and helped cut the grass, and we established to have an event there. We invited those who were participating in the games because we said, look, this is everybody's park and everybody can enjoy it. As a result of working with the neighborhood watch groups and the community people in that area, they were able to get with Parks and Recreation and develop the park that they see today. And so that's kind of how we overcame it. We had a great time. We had an event. It was there were people there that had been in that community for like 20 years and had not had an opportunity to enjoy the park.
To come outside.
To come out, and to enjoy
the
it.
Park.
And so as a result, you now have a park that everybody can enjoy.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important. One of the things you just said is you actually talked to people. And I think when people have conversations and actually, that's part of what it takes to get on the same ground and build that trust. Somebody's been in their house for all this time. I think Colonel Chanler, you had said something earlier during the break about we used to have a porch society. What was it?
And this is a prime example of that. You talk about just the communication in the neighborhood and the lack thereof. In the old days, we were a front porch society.
Absolutely.
Everybody was on the front porch. Everybody in the neighborhood knew one another.
Checking out what's going on.
As time has progressed, we moved to a backyard society, basically in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I would argue that currently we're in the house society.
My.
We've got to get back. And that's one of the things that we want to do is to bring people back out to the front porch.
Absolutely.
To bring that community interaction, not only with us, but more importantly with the neighbors, with the children. And the kids know that they've got that support system there of the neighborhood.
Absolutely. I think it's important too, when you guys were saying you used parks, working with the parks division, because that's something else. Kids they need to run out the energy because sometimes they're just bored and they have nothing else to do. So being able to go and use their parks, I think is so amazing. Are there other ways that you guys have seen, success and good results in terms of, I know we talked a little bit about the PAL program, any other community programs that you guys have seen success with?
Well, we had a lot of success with the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, just getting children out of the spaces that they see every day and to experience something new, to let them know that there is a whole nother world out there that's available to them. And that was one of the most important resources.
Was that provided free of cost, or was there a cost to families?
Most of it was donations. Officers volunteered their time to be troop leaders.
Wonderful.
Boy Scouts of America worked very well with us to make sure that those that couldn't afford were able to participate. And that's a program that we desperately need to bring back.
I'm glad to hear it's coming back.
We do have 2 Girl Scout troops. With Girl Scouts Heart of the South.
Wonderful.
And we have going right now. And we are trying to revitalize the Boy Scouts because we had at least 3 to 4 Eagle Scouts come from the Boy Scouts.
Wonderful.
So several programs. We have what's called Explorers. We're down to 1. We have at least 2 that became police officers. We do have 1 that's a PST currently now.
Awesome.
And so it's a step from like ages 14 to 17, but it helps us feed into the Blue Path portion. So they have opportunity to see if law enforcement is what they want to do. And that has been from the previous explorers. We do have police officers that were born from it. So, but we have other community members such as the clergy. We have the Clergy Academy where we have ministers do a 6-week, 2 hours, one night a week on Thursdays, and they come and they learn about some issues that they themselves have to deal with, and even how to have programming with their youth and basically come outside the doors and are great partners with us.
That's great.
And we've also got the Citizens Police Academy that people can attend.
Okay.
We've got precinct ambassadors.
Wonderful. What does that look like?
An ambassador is just somebody that is out there that is, I won't say singing our praises. That's not what we're looking for, but somebody out there that is a proponent.
An advocate, right?
An advocate of what it is that we're trying to do in the neighborhood and what the precinct's trying to do with the neighborhood. And we also, as always, have our neighborhood watch groups.
Okay. And would you say, I know see something, say something, for a while, seems like people don't want to say anything because they're afraid of, backlash or what may happen in the community. How do you guys, combat that?
So there's a lot, and we understand it, and we acknowledge that there is a lot of apprehension in neighborhoods because of retribution. But as technology grows, we're discovering new technology that allows people to report things anonymously without fear of retribution. We're not going to send an officer to their house. We're not going to put their name, things like that. That way it builds the trust relationship that they can report crime in their neighborhood.
And it be anonymous.
And it be completely anonymous. We hope to one day that people will be able to challenge without fear and call out wrongful behavior without fear. But in the interim, we're working and looking for new ways to provide that.
You have something to add to that?
We have a gamut of programs that we have all the way from back to school as relates to our youth, the back to school supply drives. Even the air conditioning program, I know it's hot. For example, we have some of our seniors.
Cool cops.
Yes. And what happens is we identify, or neighbors will call and say we have a senior that's not utilizing the air condition, and we work with the partner Home Depot. They provide the air conditions and will install them on individuals that we identify. So we have a lot of people and businesses that are asking what is it that we can do. So whatever it is that we can possibly reach out and find out and locate, that is what we look at.
And I think the important thing to mention is that we are trying to work with the community to build trust. Right.
Absolutely. And we encourage anybody from the community that has a skill, that has a function, that wants to be a part of this, to come work with us. I would love to see journeyman electrician, or apprentice electrician, apprentice masonry. Things that we can teach these children and then take them back to the neighborhood and let them help fix up the houses, cut the yards,
that has
and build
economic
pride.
impact as well.
Correct.
So
and brings pride back into that neighborhood, brings ownership and opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I like ending on a high note. I do have one last question for you, and that is, what are the top 3 things you love about Memphis?
Food. Music.
Yes.
And actually the people.
Oh,
I love Memphis.
That's beautiful.
Love the people in Memphis. We are a giving city.
We are. There was actually a study that said we are the most philanthropic city in America, which is pretty amazing and a testament to the people. Colonel Chanler or Chief Chanler? Sorry. That's
okay. The people. I love the people here. You meet all different types. Very wonderful people from all walks of life, a lot of transplants, a lot of just grassroots. And for me, the history of the city. This history's got good history and bad history, but it's our history. And I love the fact that you can be immersed in that history and understand the community that you come from. And then, of course, I'll end with the food. We do have some of the best food around that people can argue about barbecue. But Memphis barbecue is bar none. And our meat and threes.
That's right.
Our regular diners are some of the best in the country.
Since from back in the day, right?
Absolutely.
Like it seems like that's been a staple for years and years. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us today and talking about how we can continue to build community and trust. And thank you for the work that you do every day to ensure that happens in our communities.
And thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Well, today has been another episode of Best in Blue, presented by Memphis Police Department and empowered by Kadzukian. As always, we appreciate you tuning in to learn more about our police department and the men and women behind the badge. Be sure to like us and follow us across all of our social media platforms and listen to the show wherever you stream your podcasts. Find us at Best in Blue MPD on Instagram and Best in Blue on Facebook. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
This is Memphis Police Chief CJ Davis encouraging you to join our Best in Blue. Our requirements are achievable, our standards are the highest, and our officers are the finest. Check out opportunities to join our police department at joinmpd.com.